Hello, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Welcome back to Bucks Latest presented by FanArch. I'm your host, Dean Simon. Please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on those post notifications to stay up to date and in the know with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. All right, so it doesn't really matter for the immediate future of the Milwaukee Bucks, but in the immediate aftermath of the Bucks completely shaking up the NBA free agency landscape by first signing Myles Turner from their rival Indiana Pacers, to then waiving Damien Lillard and extending his contract to be paid in $22.5 million increments over the next 5 years. Unbelievable. Several sources, including Mark Spears, Brett Siegel, and plenty of other credible NBA insiders, have reported that the Golden State Warriors have reached out and been in contact with Damian Lillard just in the aftermath of being waived by the Milwaukee Bucks in this shocking turn of events. Of course, the allure that comes with Golden State for Dame as a potential destination is not just because he would get the chance to play alongside Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and have the chance to kind of help these guys make one last stand, one last push for a championship. But it's that it would be a homecoming for Damian Lillard, as he was born in Oakland, California. Part of the reason why he wore zero for the Trailblazers and then the Bucks was that he was from Oakland, then he was in Portland, Oregon. The zero is also representative of the letter O, and it could be a big part of his decision, as he has now become shockingly an unrestricted free agent, and he could go wherever he wants. He can sign for whatever amount he wants. It would be insane if he were to go to a team like the Warriors and take a deal for close to the minimum, because as stated previously, the Bucks are going to be paying him $22.5 million annually. So over the next 5 years. So it really doesn't matter what kind of contract he signs with a prospective suitor, a team like the Warriors or any other contender in the league, though he's going to be out for most of, if not all of next season. Bringing on Damian Lillard for any, price point that's lower than usual is a pretty good chance to further elevate a contending team and hopefully break into another sphere in terms of title contenders. And that's something that a team like the Houston Rockets could do, or just any team that's young, up and coming, and looking to make a push for a championship run. But with that, the Bucks also decided to make another pretty important decision, as another integral piece of their 2021 title team, Pat Coneton, was shipped away in a trade to the Charlotte Hornets. The Bucks received Vasa Micic, who they'll likely look to buy out and get off of their books as soon as possible. Needless to say, the Bucks do not win the 2021 NBA championship without Pat Coneton. In 23 games during the 2021 playoffs, he averaged 6.9 points, 4.4 rebounds in a little under 24 minutes of action, but he knocked down 38.9% of his threes throughout the entire playoff run and compiled overall a 63.3% true shooting percentage. And when it got time for the NBA Finals and, a series in 2021 in which the Bucks went down 2-0 to the Phoenix Suns, Pat stepped up. There's just no other way to put it. Contributed 9.2 points, 5.8 rebounds, shot a blistering 44.1% from three-point range. Truthfully, with how many games in that series, in the finals specifically, ended up coming down to the wire, the Bucks may not have come back from that deficit, the 2-0 deficit, to win 4 straight games and the 2021 title if Pat Coneton is not there. His 7-season tenure as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks comes to an end, but he became a franchise legend somewhat in the process, and, I wish him well with his future endeavors. He couldn't really stay healthy this year. The percentages kind of went down, the efficiency in general, his, defensive intensity kind of went down. But I really do wish him the best moving forward in all of his endeavors, and I hope that he can contribute to a competitive team again in the future. But sticking on transactional news, ESPN's Shams Charania and others reported that the Bucks signed former Denver Nuggets guard and former Orlando Magic guard from the past 3 seasons-ish, Gary Harris, to a 2-year, $7.5 million contract. I think people are very quick to forget how impactful Gary Harris was, specifically as a member of the Nuggets early into his career. Of course, he didn't really have a fantastic, a glamorous 2024-25 season with the Magic this past year. He only averaged 3 points, shot a horrid 38.3% from the field. But honestly, I don't really think that he got much of a chance to shine as a member of just an overall terrible offensive unit in Orlando. Back in 2017-18, I know it's kind of turning the clock back a little bit. Gary Harris got to a point where he was averaging 17 and a half points for an entire season, acting as a competitive defender on the perimeter and a trustworthy three-point shooter. And he's still, to this day, a very reliable veteran, a two-way guy with valuable playoff experience. And if anything, he could serve as, again, a solid three-point threat, a catch-and-shoot guy that has shot threes at a little under a 39% clip over the past 4 seasons specifically. And sure, he's not going to be out there for 25 plus minutes a night, especially with the Bucks bringing back Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., and having other guys fill in. But he can definitely make an impact in spot opportunities in certain lineups with Giannis, certain defensive lineups. I think that this pickup could be pretty impactful for the Bucks moving forward. And lastly, unfortunately, in an interesting kind of shocking turn of events, but not really when you consider their cap situation after the Myles Turner deal, the Bucks decided to rescind the qualifying offer that they had extended to Ryan Rollins, making him an unrestricted free agent at 22 years old, and he's sure to have plenty of potential suitors. He proved a lot in limited minutes for the Bucks this past year, and he ended up earning a solidified spot in the lineup, due to his own two-way ability. And he shot north of 40% on threes this past year and developed in real time as we were watching the season progress as a pick-and-roll ball handler, a more confident ball handler, and, shot creator in general. Of course, what really stood out with Ryan Rollins was, with regard to his time as a Buck this past year, was his amazing on-ball defense and just overall his defensive instincts and his athleticism, which I don't know if many people saw coming. Sometimes it seemed like he was just everywhere, and I believe, the Bucks, while they might not be able to do anything about this certain situation because of the Turner deal and the $22.5 million going out every year to Damian Lillard for the next 5 years, the Bucks could easily come to regret this kind of decision in the next 2 or 3 years. And in my eyes, Ryan Rollins could eventually become a player that's reminiscent of a young and impactful two-way role player on a competitive team like the Oklahoma City Thunder, like how they comprise their team of guys like Cason Wallace, of Aaron Wiggins, of certain guys like that could come in and offer a burst off the bench and consistent three-point shooting, consistent defensive ability. And I believe, honestly, within the next maybe 2 years or so, that he'll reach a point in his development, if, granted he gets the right opportunity, that he can contribute to a true title contender, and he could be a massively important piece, whether as a reserve or maybe the fifth starter that kind of gets thrown in and, doesn't necessarily hurt the team, maybe doesn't necessarily make them overly better, but Ryan Rollins can certainly develop into a pretty great 3-and-D option on a good team, and he showed that as a member of the Bucks this past year. But moving forward, it remains to be seen whether he's going to get that same opportunity, whether it's going to be on a team that's toiling like the Brooklyn Nets or the Wizards or somewhere of the like, and if he'll get that opportunity to really shine. But anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Bucks Latest presented by Fan Arch. I've been Dean Simon. Again, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on those post notifications to stay up to date and in the know with all the latest Milwaukee Bucks updates. I'll see you in the next one, and go Bucks.